guys, it's me again. So the Crag situation is being heavily dived into and investigated, and I am letting you know by the end of it, all of Clark Jones will have been dealt with, etc. However, both myself, it won't come without a cost, though, folks. Both myself and several others are going to be taken down as part of this thing. Now, thankfully, someone 1,000 years ago was nailed upside down and all of that, so it's already been all paid for. So what we go through, particularly myself and my other associate, will be very, very trite in comparison to that. But the point being that it will occur, folks, and you need to be aware of this because it's coming soon. And at the end of it, there will be no more of any of this citizen nonsense or anything, because it will all be finally permanently removed. So understand this, recognize it, and the trafficking is coming straight to the forefront. Thank you again. Keep spreading the word about the Crag. So again, folks, I've tried to be reasonable, all the way along with this. And of course, someone I spoke with before about it, well, these are very serious allegations. And if Eric Pratt, like this former U.S. Marshal, spoke on the podcast, if he knew about this, and I'm not saying definitively that he knew or not, folks, I'm not going to say that, but he reiterated once again, if he knew about this, okay, it seems to lead to that conclusion that Eric Pratt, Officer Pratt, would have known about Clark Jones, and there not being any alternative explanation other than to say that he knew about it. If the police and so on have threatened someone, and they have threatened me, and they threatened someone else, then it definitely leads to that conclusion and lends a lot of credence to the idea that maybe not all of them, but certainly Officer Eric Pratt knew about Clark Jones. Because once again, someone spoke that to me earlier also. How would it be possible, okay, for this to occur with Clark Jones being in the exact area where Eric Pratt was seen all the time with these vehicles and have it spotted on actual live camera, unless he knew something somehow about it? And we're going to explore that a little bit more, okay? Not to step on anyone's toes too much. But we're going to explore this a little bit more with the Crag. Thank you. Again, folks, this is not a court of law or General Assembly, which is also involved. But I'm saying that more and more the evidence is leaning heavily in a direction, okay, to a conclusion that cannot be denied. Jared Stephen Morgan was one of the people arrested in the human trafficking, it says, in Duchesne County. Now, I'm not supposed to speak about this too much, but I can tell you the people who have been involved in this all the way along investigating are meeting in Duchesne County. They didn't say for what reason. Some of it, though, I guarantee is jury-related deliberations, okay? But when we see it like this in plain view, Duchesne County, more than 8 weeks of this going on, when she was 18 or 19, etc. And this happens with men, okay? This happens with both males and females. And then we look at the Crag once again, okay? I like to go based upon the available evidence and the hard evidence, and there really isn't another conclusion that we can come to, folks, when we see this. When we see Nick Morgan, Dan Morgan, and so forth, all a part of this same network, and Jared Stephen Morgan had kidnapped these victims and been a part of the Crag as well. We can only conclude with the available evidence and based upon where that is leaning towards. I can tell you right now, okay, that it is increasingly more and more likely that Officer Eric Pratt knew about all of this. Bottom line. Because it says some of these victims were kidnapped in Duchesne County, or outside of Moab, in other words. And so there is not too much of a leap there based upon hard evidence and other things to say that yes, it did happen. And it happened all over this mountain region. Thank you. Again, folks, I always have to go by the weight of the evidence. And the weight of the evidence says Dustin Giles Andrus of Camas, who traveled a lot in what's called the Wicked Crag and similar places in Moab. He was frequently a visitor of Moab. Was booked for human trafficking in the 2nd District Court for recruiting plus harboring children for sexual exploitation, aggravated extortion, and first-degree felonies, drug distribution, all with the 16-year-old and other minors. They don't mention the fact there's also, 14-year-olds and so on, but they were confirmed to have been harbored by the same fugitive. And you can't get any more clear cut than that. We see Leslie Andrus. We see his cousin, who's also involved. And, I like to give the benefit of the doubt to people. But when this kind of hard evidence comes up, and this kind of thing occurred on Officer Pratt's watch, I have no choice except to point out that perhaps Officer Pratt did indeed know quite a bit about this trafficking going on. Thank you again. Like, comment, subscribe.